Late last week, we found out some pretty interesting news. There will be a new FBS college football program as the Missouri State Bears from the FCS have decided to climb up to the FBS ranks. This follows in the footsteps of a couple teams like Delaware and Kennesaw State, as it seems that a lot of schools in the FCS are trying to decide whether they should go all in on football or leave it in the past. While there are plenty of big-time programs still in the FCS, such as North Dakota State and South Dakota State, you have to wonder if a lot more schools are going to try to take a chance and jump up to the next level at the hope of making it big. There should be at least one bid for a Group of 5 team in the college football playoff each and every year, and if you're a school that's lucky enough to get in that position, you could change the directory of your entire program and your entire future. I understand why more FCS schools are trying to make the jump. College football's never had more interest in the mainstream and for casual fans than they do now, and with the amount of TV money that's pouring in, each and every little school is going to try to get a piece of the pie. Missouri State announced they're going to go to the Conference USA, and right now they're kind of a band of misfits conference. To many, they are by far the worst conference there is, but they will have the ability to say they are FBS and at least, quote, compete for the college football playoff. In today's video, I want to quickly summarize what is going on with Missouri State football, what their jump to the FBS means, and how I think they could actually do. But before you get started, if you're a big fan of college football, quickly be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you want to support today's video, and let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I could cover next. Now let's get started and talk about the newest FBS program, the Missouri State Bears. While I do upload a decent amount on the channel, I will admit I'm very streaky. There are some weeks where I put out 20 videos and other weeks where you won't see anything. But one thing I'm going to really try to do more on the channel is just make quick videos about things going on in the sport. I could have definitely let this pass and maybe it'll get 1,000 views, but who really cares? It's an interesting topic and I think is also very intriguing for the sport and summarizes where we are headed. As many of you guys know, I'm a diehard Mizzou fan, and the Mizzou Tigers are no longer the only FBS program in the state. The only thing I really know about Missouri State football is that just a couple of years ago, Bobby Petrino was the coach, and that every time they play Mizzou, they get blown out. It seems like each and every year they either play SEMO or Mo State, but in total, Missouri State is by no means a juggernaut. In total, they have a 492 and 532 record, and in total, they have 5 playoff appearances, 10 conference titles, and have gone 1-4. I honestly can't really think of an NFL player that's come out of Missouri State either, but they have not been really that great in recent memory. Bobby Petrino only went 3 games over 500, and Dave Steckel was an absolute disaster. As I go back on Wikipedia, you have to go back all the way to the 1990s to find the last coach that actually had a winning record, so honestly, Missouri State is not exactly a school that I expect to do much. So why is Missouri State doing this then? They're not great, and they've been knocked out of the playoffs in the first round the last 2 years they've played. Why are they doing this? Well, they want a piece of the pie. The Missouri Valley Football Conference's payout is very minimal, and with how crazy college football realignment has gone, there really at this point is nothing to lose. Fan interest is very minimal, and no one really cares about Bears football. They're probably already operating on a deficit anyways, so in their eyes, it's worth the risk. If somehow, some way, they end up getting somewhat decent, then it'll pay off, and if not, they kind of stay exactly where they are. They put themselves in a position to start getting better recruits, maybe start making a little bit more money, and start building their brand a little bit more. Bobby Petrino is definitely a polarizing and controversial figure in the football world, but when Missouri State decided to hire him, they showed they were somewhat serious about getting back to being a national brand, or that they were going to try to do something. Petrino has always been a pretty decent coach. The problem has been everything else. He ended up doing solid for them, as he brought them the 2 FCS playoff appearances, and while they lost in the first round both times, he elevated the program to heights they had not seen in quite a long time, and at least got them back on the right page. After Petrino left to be the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M, they moved in a new direction and hired head coach Ryan Beard. Interestingly enough, Missouri State will be playing against Western Kentucky when they end up joining Conference USA in 2025, and their head coach Ryan Beard goes way back there. He was a native of Bowling Green, helped elevate Bowling Green High School, and then played as a defensive back for the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers for a couple of years. He ended up quickly going up the coaching ladder as he started at WKU before he went to Louisville. He then spent time at Northern Michigan before he was back with Bobby Petrino in 2017 and 18, and then came to the Missouri State staff in 2020 and was then named the head coach after being the defensive coordinator. Interestingly enough, he is the guy who is married to the daughter of Bobby Petrino, so you could say the two are pretty hand in hand. I'm sure Bobby has been mentoring him for quite some time, but in year 1, things did not exactly pan out. The Bears ended up going 4-7, and in 2024, they will hope to be a lot better. Honestly, nobody's really going to care about the 2024 season, as they'll all be looking forward to 2025. At this point, it'll cost $5 million for Missouri State to join the FBS, as that is their new requirement, but at this time, we don't know how much it's going to cost to leave the Missouri Valley. That is the premier FCS conference right now, but they were not exactly at the top of it either. It doesn't matter though, as they are trying to increase their brand, and Conference USA Commissioner said, quote, "Missouri State boasts a great tradition in athletics and academics that will strengthen and further position our membership for long-term success in the national landscape." I feel like every commissioner or AD says something like that, but Missouri State is actually okay, as they've had a couple good years in basketball, and I'm pretty sure they actually have a really good women's basketball program. Conference USA has been in a very weird spot, as they lost 6 of their teams to the American Athletic Conference, and then have had to rebuild with weird teams. They grabbed independents such as Liberty and New Mexico State, and then also got 2 more teams that came up from the FCS in Sam Houston State and Jacksonville State. Missouri State's going to hope to have a Jacksonville State-like season. In year 1, the Gamecocks actually made a bowl game, and were one of the pleasant surprises of the 2023 college football season. While maybe they end up being like the Gamecocks, there's a better chance that this can end up biting them in the long run. It'll now be much more expensive for them, as there'll be longer bus trips and plane rides, and travel expenses are probably going to get way out of hand. Conference USA is currently all over the place, and this is not exactly like the Big Ten or SEC, where the TV revenue is flying in. They'll also be required to add an additional 22 scholarships to the football program, which is going to lead to more of a cost in recruiting, meals, and other expenses. But, as I said, this is all a long-term move. They're going to make a lot more money if they can get to bowl games, they'll now be on TV, their brand will increase, they'll likely get more people in the stands, and if they play power conference opponents, they'll get larger payouts. Combining all that with banking on them getting more exposure, Missouri State is basically just trying to do anything they can to increase their brand. They're pretty much dead in the water as is, and there's nowhere for them to go in the FCS, so why not try to make it work at the FBS? The worst thing that can happen is you're the bottom of Conference USA every year, and you get to play Alabama or Ole Miss in Week 11. As I'm scrolling through Reddit, the general narrative from Missouri State fans is that this is just whatever, and most diehard college football fans think this was the best option available. After they decided to add Delaware, apparently their talks with Eastern Kentucky, Tarleton State, Stephen F. Austin, UMass, Chattanooga, and Central Arkansas all ended up falling apart. It looked like Missouri State was the best option left, and we'll really just have to wait and see. This isn't exactly the most glamorous move in the world, but it is exciting. I like seeing all these new college football programs move up to the FBS, and as college football gets crazier and crazier and the big brands become bigger and bigger, it'll be cool to watch these smaller teams fight it out at the bottom, and maybe one of them will rise through the ranks. Who knows, maybe in a few years, Missouri State will be a top 25 team, and a team competing for that college football playoff spot for the Group of 5 every year. I'm sure crazier things have happened, but I'm not going to bank on it. But what do you guys think? If you're a Missouri State fan or a college football fan in general, what do you think of this move? What team do you think will be next to move up to the FBS? And what topic should I cover next? Also, if you enjoyed this style of content, be sure to let me know with a comment and leave a like. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe and check out all of the videos on the end screen. Hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.